The engine's back from the machining shop now, reassembled by them with a new block, or with a replacement block. This is the one I picked up off of eBay. Everything on the engine looks like it's in good condition. They did a nice job as usual. I've just been going over the block and just double checking to make sure everything looks correct and reasonable. And so far the only thing I've found is that down on the front side, one of these holes, the second one from the bottom, doesn't look like it's ever been used. It was probably open in the previous application and the threads were kind of rusty. So I just finished going through that with a tap and chasing the threads and putting a bolt in it with some washers on it and making sure it torques up. Actually, I torqued it up to 40. I think those bolts torque to 30, so so the threads should hold. They just don't look real pretty, but it's full depth and cleaned up. Give us a nice double row chain, all lined up and ready to go here. Just a couple more comments on the build. As you may recall, when this engine came out, I had a bent push rod up here on was the number 4, and I believe that's where it was, and rocker arm was turned. The engine builder verified that the cam was bad. It had a crack in the block up in this area, which was visible when we were done. Basically, they took my new block and blasted it and cleaned it and took it 30 over. They took all the parts out of the engine with the bad block and put them in this block. So they saved the crank and the rods and most of the valve gear, and I think the heads. Although it was kind of interesting, the heads are really clean, so I don't know if they fully disassembled them and brought them back around. But you know, if you look into the coolant ports are dry and clean, so they must have at least flushed them well and done a thorough inspection on the heads. They told me that the piston rings were replaced, as well as the cam and lifters. I don't know what else they might have added, but and I did change cams. I've switched with some advice from my son-in-law to a Lunati Voodoo, which is a similar type of cam. Their particular one that they recommended for this engine has got it's about the same lift, but it has just a few degrees less duration. They said it would give me a better power band across the whole spectrum, as opposed to if I went up one more, I could have gotten a cam that gave me a little more peak horsepower, but this is supposed to be fatter torque curve all the way up. Here's a quick comparison of the cam specs, the 85 cam versus the Lunati that they recommended. You can see that the lift is quite a bit higher, the duration's just a little longer, and they told me I'd get a lot more torque across the entire power band, and especially with a lockup torque converter, this ought to feel good. We'll see how it performs when we get it on the road. The engine folks, they did the swap. They put all the new parts in. They bought me a new cam, basically all under warranty. So it's all in good shape, and I'm going to start dressing it back up. Here's the bottom end of the engine. Just kind of scan over it. Take a look. So let's see the cam. Lobes are all lubricated up good. Cylinder walls and all look good. Just about ready to put the oil pump on.